All you ever do is work, poop, and sleep. What do I need to do to get your attention? Make TikToks or walk around naked all day? Come on. Hey, how you doing?
Oh, it's gonna be fun.
Oh, I don't even know if it sounds good or not. I should probably listen to it.
You remember that show? Are we recording?
Yeah. I don't know where to put stuff. Like, this is great stuff. What's up, guys? My name is Jeff. That's Mike.
Hey.
We are My Wife Still Likes Me, and I'm having audio issues over here. Mike, how you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm hanging out. Just, I'm loving Arizona right now.
Yeah.
It's getting better. It's getting better. It's getting better.
We're gonna
And
do this on the fly. See if I can reach this and make changes.
So I heard this. I forgot who told it to me, and it was for sermons. Obviously, Jeff's a pastor. I'm a pastor, and we do sermons on occasion. And it was
Sometimes, not always though.
Yeah. But we sit there, and one guy was telling me, he goes, "You should use this." He goes, "It's really difficult here in Arizona to get people to come to church." And I was like, "Really? Why?" And he goes, "Because in the summer, when you're talking about hell at church, they don't care because they live in Phoenix, they live in Arizona, and when you're when you're talking about a sermon in paradise, and it's winter in Arizona, they don't want to come to church because we live there." So we get both aspects of it. I was like, that's kind of interesting.
That's funny. I don't know how I feel about that, but it's funny. All right.
But how are you? How's the sound?
I think it's okay.
Doing all right?
I am doing all right.
Good.
I don't have headphones, so I'm doing it all just by how the meter looks. I mean, I can edit it later, but if it's like loud going in, it sounds bad later.
Oh, okay.
But I want to get back to where I can do this and be okay.
Get right on top of
If
it.
I do it out here, I can't see my notes, and you guys can't hear me. But if I get closer, unlike that one week where we had the mic backwards, because that was funny.
Oops.
Whatever. Anyway, today we're talking about giving your wife the attention that she needs. But first, Mike's going to ask me a question,
I am going to
and we'll see what happens.
grab one of these uncommon questions.
Uncommon questions you can find on Amazon. I'll put a link in the description. I think I still need to be a little bit louder, but go ahead.
Here we go. So our uncommon question is, when was the last time you felt powerful?
I don't think we can talk about that on the show. We try to be kid friendly. Last time I felt powerful.
It's difficult to think about.
No, I had one, but it wasn't like I didn't do anything. Like it involves faith. Like it's very much but it's not powerful. Like I didn't do anything. So that doesn't answer the question. And now you all have no context, and I'm sorry. Powerful. Driving a ship.
Driving shit. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that was a long time ago. I'm trying to think of something more recent. Anytime we go shooting.
Absolutely. That's where I'm going with mine.
I'm trying to think. When I see my kids do stuff like the first time, like, but like in a good way, like, hey, we've succeeded. We did something we were supposed to. Like that always like gets exciting.
Definitely.
Powerful. I don't know. We both have very like servant like type lifestyles, so it's like I don't want to feel powerful because I'm not in charge.
Right.
Driving a ship, shooting, sometimes in the bedroom.
If you're allowed.
I do this part better myself. Anyway, yeah, what about you?
So it was probably, I don't know, a month ago. There's a couple guys at work that love to shoot. And one of our engineers, great guy, has been talking to us about shooting. And one of our other guys, my warranty supervisor, went to Hawaii. And he goes, hey, when I come back, we're going to go to the range. And we have an indoor range probably 1.5 miles, 2 miles from us.
Oh, cool.
So, I mean, literally, we can run over there at lunchtime and go shoot.
Yeah.
So we decided, okay, he's back on this day. We're going to go on this day. We're going to go after work. So we get there, and the one guy brings a couple of weapons. One that I've never shot before in my life. And it's a .454 Casull. It is, I mean, it's a pistol, but the round is a couple inches long.
Wow.
And he was explaining it to, he shoots it, and it's a bear pistol. Is the way he's explaining it. It's a last ditch effort. If a bear's coming at you,
yeah,
this round is supposed to take down a bear. So I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah, I want to shoot that. So we get through, and
it might hurt.
Yeah, and it was like, one guy shot it, and I'm like, let him go first. Let him go. I want to see how this works. And so he shot it, and the other guy shot it, and I'm like, I'll shoot this. And in the meantime, I'm shooting. I have my little 9mm, and I'm like, pink. And I'm like, I got a gun, And obviously we do everything safe. Everything's good. We're at the range, And I'm very pro gun. If you're doing it safely.
Yeah.
And so he asked me, he goes, you ready to shoot? And he goes, I only put 2 rounds in it. And he goes, that's enough. And I'm like, yeah, I'm going to do this. And I get up there and I bring this pistol up and I'm like, okay, I'm holding this. I'm set. And I start pulling the trigger. And, from hunting all my life, you pull the trigger, but you don't want to know when it's going to go off because that's how I was taught. And I'm going. And it went off, and all I could do was grin. I was like, yes. And I pulled the trigger again. I was like, oh my gosh. But I don't know how much those rounds were. They got to be, prices right now, it's got to be like $3, maybe $4 a round. I don't know. But they're huge. And I was like, oh. But I put the pistol down, and I'm like, yeah,
for me.
It's that testosterone flow or whatever
it
is. But that was the most recent one. That was awesome.
Oh yeah, was it? Probably a month and a half ago. We had finished camping, and had the kids in the cars watching movies, so like hearing protection stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
And I like to do reload drills.
Oh yeah.
And so it was a tree and like a target. I was just like 6 and reload and 6. And it was just like, like I don't even care if I hit the target. It was just pop. Pop, 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 pop. Like,
yeah.
I still got it. Anyway.
Yeah.
Priorities. We've spent a lot of time over 2 seasons now talking about priorities. The problem is we have lives.
Yeah.
We have busy lives. Work, kids. I have a couple of friends. One of them sitting here with me, so the other one's my wife. Anyway, I have a couple of other friends. Hobbies and even pets. Like, we go through all of this stuff. Everything takes a little bit of our attention. And that can become a tension issue in our marriages. The level of those priorities gets out of whack.
Yeah.
And we go through all of this stuff, and it might sound really, really, really weird. And it's going to probably be a little bit confrontational. But our wives should not have to fight for our attention.
Not at all.
Ever. And I'm going to say it. I'm going to say what I say, and it's fine. In my opinion, and we've talked about this before, that order is God, wife, kids, and everybody else.
Yeah.
No, I do not think that my children should get more attention than my spouse does. I schedule, plan, and date days with my kids, but my spouse is number 2 in our house.
Right.
My kids are 3, 4, and 5. And that's fine. because I think that sets an example for my kids.
Absolutely.
When they, so what usually happens is 15 years in, or in average cases, 2.5 to 7 years in, that attention deficit is huge, and it becomes a reason for divorce. We don't spend any time together anymore. Well, when you're taking your kids to 19 million things, or you're doing 19 million things, or you didn't set your alarm that said you should go to bed after playing video games, you see how all this kind of lines up together?
Yes.
Being married is messy, but it doesn't have to be if you prioritize things, and you talk about things, and you communicate.
Yep.
Anyway, at some point, we picked our spouses. I assume you picked your spouse. If you're from one of those countries, I don't know how that works, but at some point you picked your spouse, and you chose them, and you wanted them to be the person you spent the rest of your life with. Don't forget that, right? Don't forget that. Pointing. Should point like this. All of you who are older than me have the Bill Clinton voice in your head. I'm sorry.
Oh, no.
At some point, we tend to give everything else our attention and our time, and we forget about the life that we chose to build with our spouse and the reason we started that life. So what does that look like for Mike and Steph?
Well, let me back up. When you were talking about the order of things, and you were saying, yes, you put your wife before your children. And I've thought about that before, and my reasoning to do that is because my spouse, my wife, Stephanie, is going to be with me the rest of my life. My kids are going to go off and do their thing, and then it's just going to be the two of us. And we need to be able to have stuff in common. We need to be able to feed each other, in whether it be emotionally, spiritually, everything. And I'm not saying by no means, don't spend time with your kids, but there has to be a quality time with your spouse.
Yeah.
Has to be.
Mm-hmm.
There's been times, I'm frustrated and I don't want to be around anyone. I just need quiet time. I need time alone. And Stephanie can feel that. Stephanie reads that and she goes, why don't we just go to dinner? And I'm like, I don't want to load up the kids. I don't want to load up the grandkids. I don't want to take care of it. She goes, no. Just us. And that's her giving me attention. And I have to give that back to her.
Yeah.
And there's times we've talked about it in our previous episodes where, date night. Date night is huge. Date night is very important.
Date night is mandatory. Don't let anybody tell you different.
Yes. And we've had to, move our date nights around occasionally.
That's okay.
But you have to have it.
Mm-hmm.
And to be able to, in my household, being that there's 8 of us in that household, most of our attention is alone. We have to go somewhere else to get it, which is fine. But there's those times when you come downstairs, whether it be early in the morning, I rise early every day, no matter what.
I don't understand that at all.
My body wakes up, I'm up, here I go. And I'll go downstairs. There's a lot of alone time that, I'm waking up.
I was just like, I texted you before the show today. I'm like, hey, can we push it an hour?
Right. And I'm like, okay. Okay. All right, I'll just sit here. No, but I mean, that's what I do. And I'll go downstairs like on the weekends and whatnot, and it's quiet. The grandkids are asleep. The kids are asleep. Everybody's asleep. And I soak that time up. But then there's times where Stephanie will come down and it's like, I want to spend time with my wife. Mm-hmm. I give her that attention because I know the later in the day, it's going to get hectic. You have to plan the time. But there's also moments like that where you seize the opportunity to give your wife attention. And to be able to do that, you got to recognize that those moments. And sometimes it's for 5 minutes, sometimes it's 10 minutes. But that attention, in my opinion, shows that you still care, shows her that you still care, shows her that she is still, part of your life and that you still want her around. You want her to be there. You want to grow old with them. So, and that's where I'm at.
Old with you.
I'm not a singer.
That's probably not how that song goes.
I don't even try to sing. So.
Oh, yeah, the wedding singer. Adam Sandler. Isn't that Adam Sandler?
I have no idea. The Wedding Singer,
Yeah.
the movie.
Yeah.
I've seen that.
I thought it was Adam Sandler.
He's in that movie. Yeah.
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 Oh, I think that's one of the songs.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Like when he's on the plane at the end of the song,
It's
like
been a
confessing.
long time.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
It's been a long time. But I mean, that's where.
I just had like 6 squirrel moments in my head. I'm
Right.
Like, stop. Let it go. Let
And
it go.
that's the other thing is like you talked about the splitting of your time. If you could sit there and again, I look at pie charts and I see pie charts. If you could sit there and analyze, okay, work is this, spouse, kids.
Isn't it ridiculous how big the work part of the pie is?
Yes, it's unfortunate. I mean, and it should be. Again, not trying to preach or anything like that. The God should be the biggest part of our pie.
Yeah.
But I mean, we still have lives. We still have to maintain. We still have to pay bills. I get that.
Finish remodeling our home.
Finish remodeling homes.
I'm still working on it. I'm sorry, honey.
But I mean, that's where, if we could look at that, and sometimes maybe that's what we need to do as guys. I'm very analytical, so if I have that, and I can go, oh, I only did this much with my wife. I did this much with my kids. I did this,
Funny. I didn't think about that.
I like pie too, so it kind of goes hand in hand. But
Don't. My wife's homemade apple pie is amazing, but outside of that, I'm not a pie.
I'm a pie guy.
My wife could. If you could make M&Ms, honey. I don't know how to do that at home. I'm sure it can be done.
I'm sure there's something online.
You get fired for putting all the W's on them.
Right? But yeah, I mean, it's an attention thing, and like you said, squirrels happen all the time. You could be spending time with your wife, and then all of a sudden, squirrel, and your attention goes somewhere else, and then you're focused on that. That's where I think multitasking. We have to do it in a daily life, but I'm not a big fan of it. Personally, I'm not a big fan of multitasking. Obviously, we have to do it because there's tons of things in our lives that are going on. But I prefer to finish one task and then move on to the next task because I know that's finished and I don't have to go back to it.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that attention for my wife's a task, but I use that as an analogy to sit there and go, I'm spending time with my wife. I'm not going to have my squirrel moments. I'm going to spend it with my wife.
Yeah.
And again, it could, I'm not a big fan of going shopping. I really dislike
Is there a
shopping.
guy that's a fan of going shopping?
There may be. And we had a question, about faking it a couple weeks ago. There you go. There's that faking moment.
Yeah, no. Oh, yeah, that'd be funny. No, I was trying to think of a way to ask this without getting in trouble. It's like, and this is, I don't mean this way. You are who you are, but is there a straight guy that likes to go shopping?
Well, and again, it could be what you're shopping for.
That's true, too. Yeah, I could spend all day in Cabela's.
Oh, yeah.
And not buy anything. And
Yeah,
great.
I've done that.
I did that for a date day with David.
Oh, yeah.
About a month ago. We went to the aquarium.
Oh my goodness,
We
yes.
went- yeah.
I did that with my oldest granddaughter, Paisley. It was like, hey, let's
the
go to
problem is,
Cabela's.
though, my wife would be okay with walking around Cabela's for a couple
Right.
hours, but most would not.
Yeah, and that's the thing is, I mean, your spouse.
Yeah.
You learn what they appreciate. And,
Sure.
and it's okay to say, you know what, I'm going to go do this with my wife. And that's where you're give and take. You're spending time with your wife. Your attention should be on her.
Yeah.
And if she wants to go look at a new dress, or if she wants to just go walk around in the mall and grab something light to eat or whatever,
Or
you
even
should be doing that.
Things like, my wife's allowed to wear jeans to, like, pre-COVID, was allowed to wear jeans to work.
Okay.
And there's this one store in Prescott, it's 2.5 hours away, that she likes to get jeans from. And they're the magic
yeah.
jeans. They're the ones that fit. Go 2-3 episodes ago when we were talking about tell your wife she's pretty.
Yeah.
These jeans help in the butt area. Anyway, I have no reason to go with her to go get the same pair of jeans she's bought for 10 years.
Right.
But I go because that fills the love tank.
Yeah, absolutely.
If your wife's love language is quality time, you need to do this like more than what we're talking about.
Oh, yeah.
What does that look like? So for us, like, let's think practical. Like, date day is good, but date day, night, whatever, date day. I take my kids on dates during the day. I take my wife on dates whenever we get time.
Right.
the multitasking needs to stop. So like one of those things like put your phone away or put
Yeah.
it face down. Like if you're out, like I understand you want to have your phone with you so you can hear from the babysitter or whatever, but like face down phones is a big deal. If I can help it, I don't even take it out other than
Right.
like my wife's favorite restaurant to go to is Yard House, and I can't sit on my phone at Yard House, so I take it out and I'll put it face down on the table.
Of course.
Or like, Apple Pay, whatever. This is how we pay our bills
Right.
and all that stuff. But date day, cook her favorite meal for her. Making a conscious effort to choose to spend a couple of minutes with them every day.
Yeah.
And I know, excuse me, sorry, I had a burp. If you've watched all of these shows, we're running out of time we can commit to all the things we need to commit to. Your wife should be number one in the family unit. But it's not necessarily all the things special. It's like the watching TV. When my wife, even when my wife's playing video games, I'll come sit down next to her and I'll do whatever it is I'm doing, whether it's work or whatever. And for my wife, that's okay. Like that's good. Like we're in the same room together. And it doesn't mean you're necessarily talking. It doesn't mean you're doing it. It doesn't mean any of that stuff. It's just that there is time together.
Yeah.
And whatever that looks like. It doesn't need to be an hour. I mean, it could need to be an hour, but like it could be a couple of minutes here and there. Cook dinner together once a week, or have a movie night. But then have those date nights where you're 4 or 5 hours together, uninterrupted. There's no issues. There's no phones. There's no nothing. Do not disturb is a wonderful thing. It does work. If you have an Apple device,
Yes. It's on there.
scroll down and push the moon, and your phone will stop ringing.
Yep.
Your watch will not. I did learn this, though. Well, mine won't. My watch will still ring. So I don't wear my watch on date night because I can just, ooh, what's that?
Oh,
Ooh,
yeah,
what's that? Ooh, what's that? Yeah. But just like we talked about, we picked our wives. Remember that and make sure they're number one and that you can talk to them and hang out with them. And it doesn't have to be over the top. If you have a high maintenance wife, I'm sorry. And I mean that in a good way. Like there are wives, like all of our wives want to be
Pampered.
Yeah. Whatever that level is. Like my wife, like we talked a couple of weeks ago, like my wife's thing with the ponytail, like she does this weird little like giggle dance when I bring chicken home. And it's not like whatever, like just things that we're thinking of her.
Right.
Like some of this is a whole different conversation about trust, blah, 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 whatever. But when I'm done for the day, like, so I did Uber before school, before I picked up the kids this week.
Right.
And I try to be home by like 2 or so I can just decompress for a minute.
Yeah.
And like I was in Mesa somewhere, so I was an hour and 10 minutes away. And I'll tell you, hey, I'm on my way home. Do you need anything? And sometimes she'll be like, she'll ask, hey, did you eat yet? I said, no. What do you want something? And she wanted Taco Bell, like whatever. I've been 40 and I haven't been to Taco Bell in a couple of years.
Right.
So good. But man, did I feel it like
Oh.
heartburn afterwards. Anyway, but a lot of times we have a Raising Cane's up the street.
Oh, yeah.
And so like if I'm out running around or like if I'm at Panera or Spencer's riding or whatever, I won't even ask. I'll just stop by Cane's on the way home because chances are pretty good my wife forgets to eat lunch almost every day.
Ooh.
So I'll just stop and like get her lunch, or I'll come and make her lunch. And like those are the kind of thing reminding your wife she's number one.
Yeah.
And our kids joke about it like, is Daddy gonna buy you chicken today? Does that mean he loves you? So all the time, like, or coffee. It used to be coffee. Coffee, like, for the amount of a coffee, you can buy a meal at Cane's. So
Right.
I'd rather get her chicken.
Yeah.
Because if she doesn't eat it, I can eat it.
Right.
Anyway, just remember why we picked our wives. They should be the number one of our attention, after our faith and meditation, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But things like, I still don't eat till my wife eats. On days that we're all home and have nothing else to do. Like if I have someplace to go, I'm eating.
Oh, yeah. You got to get out
But
of
if
there.
we're all home for dinner and she works at a modified second shift, so she's not actually off for dinner. She takes her lunch break when we have dinner.
Right.
I wait till she eats. And the kids see that. Like, I make the kids plates, but then my wife gets to eat, and then I don't sit down and eat. And my kids are like, Daddy, why don't you eat till Mommy eats? Because I spend time with Mommy, and we eat together.
Nice. Yeah.
Practical things. Go on a date night.
Oh, so this just came to my mind.
Sure.
Pampering our wives. We love to pamper our wives. So take your wife to get a pedicure.
That's what I was going to say.
Yes. And guys, it's okay to get a pedicure. It is amazing. I mean, and
yes, they're talking about you and the fact they're massaging your hairy legs.
Yes, and it's okay. But, I mean, if you want to have just a quality time with your wife, you're sitting next to each other. You can't move. And she's excited because she's getting a pedicure.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, babe, you're beautiful. We don't need to get a pedicure, but I know you want it. And, I mean, it's a great giving thing. But you get to get one as well. And, oh, my gosh. Go all out. Spend for the sugaring. You know, it's good.
That weird pink stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Guys.
It's wonderful.
No, it's awesome.
Oddly enough, the first one I ever went was with you.
Yeah. And it was
that's the first
you
one
and
I ever got.
it was Keith and somebody else.
But
Joe.
I've been back several times a year since then. Sometimes that's our date day.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you're right. You can't go anywhere.
There's not usually anything going on, and you can talk. And
Yeah.
And the people don't mind if you talk.
No.
I mean, they'll ask you
They'll
questions.
sit you right next to each other.
Yeah.
They'll sit you on the other side of the room if you want.
Right.
To. But yeah, get your massage chair. You relax.
Yes.
She's relaxed.
Yes.
And there's some days like we're close enough. Like we don't even have to do it. We just hold hands. We don't talk. We
Right.
don't do anything.
And it relieves stress. The stress that we
Right.
talked about last
I'm
week.
ticklish. It doesn't
You know.
really. It feels good afterwards. But
Oh,
not all the time.
oh no. I am so love those. I'm glad she took me. She talked me into it.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, you know, and I'm like, come on, babe, I'm a guy. I don't want to get a pedicure. Guys, it's okay. Go get one.
It is. Yes.
Absolutely.
I've actually gone to get a couple by myself.
Yeah. I remember when I was living in Colorado, I had to go up to Colorado.
And for all of
without
you
that.
asking, I can still grip the tackle box.
That's right. I had wrist surgery, and my wife told me to go get a manicure, and they massage your hands and everything. Incredible. I was like, yep.
I haven't done one of those yet. I'm like super ticklish.
Oh, no, I love it.
Oh,
I mean,
no. When I get my feet done, it's hard to sit still. Like when they like
my
actually
gosh.
do your feet, like
Yeah.
with the cheese grater,
Yeah.
it is so hard for me to sit still. Like
Oh.
I giggle through the whole thing.
No way. I'm so relaxed.
All the rest of it's relaxing. When they're doing the cheese, I need to go. That's funny.
Yeah. Hey, you're going on date night soon.
Yeah, I know.
Maybe make it a little early. Tell your mother-in-law to come over now.
Anyway, we good?
We're good, man.
All
This
right.
is good.
Guys, we're out of time. Mental health is serious. We are not professionals. Go find some professional help if you need it. My name's Jeff. That's Mike. Hit the buttons, hit the like, subscribe, and all of those things. Leave us comments with what you think we should talk about. Go spend time with your wife. Tell her she's hot. And eat dinner with her. Peace.